So I would like to invite our panelists to the stage. Are we gonna? I'm gonna do it one by one, and then you're gonna do your run to the stage. First of all, just meet Seti, Head of Global Insights at Consumer Lab Ericsson. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, pick one. Alexander Dedovets, Head of Global Insights at Cloetta. And this is where I needed the wine. It gets more difficult with the naming. Olof Granström, Senior Client Advisor at Whisper Group.
Thank you. I have a very Swedish name, so I'm used to it.
And then Cecilia Platzak, Head of Innovation at Ipsos Sweden. Great. First of all, thank you for being here and for participating in this panel. In my introduction, I spoke about the future of market research, and that is super difficult, obviously, to predict that future of market research. But I'm going to ask you anyway, of course. How do you see the role of traditional market research methods evolving in the face of emerging technologies and data sources?
I work at the research agency where we use several different methods and several different data sources. And I think that one thing is important that you spoke about, and that is accepting imperfection. Traditional research has never been perfect, even in the days when it was quite easy. Data and statistics is always imperfect. So using different sources, different methods to triangulate and trying to understand, I think that is extremely important. And AI and all those new data sources that will open up for us will help us with that. And traditional research will always have a place. No. Not always. We can't really predict that far into the future, but for quite some time, because we will need to triangulate and add depth to other data sources. I'm not saying that other data sources are important or more important or less important, or traditional research is more or less important. I think the use of different data sources is important, and understanding the consumer is not becoming less important. No. Just because we have the ability to understand more. So using traditional methods in the right way, I think that is what is important.
If you look at the past, just if you look at some statistics right now, I think we're still trying to catch up with this AI wave. I mean, I think it's moving so fast. If you just look at the past 6 months, over $1 billion have been raised by startups which are in the AI space, and that has never been seen before in the industry. And that includes, I think, $2.1 billion, which have been raised by market research firms employing AI, for different sort of products and solutions, whether that is mining big data or platforms or even enhancing productivity on survey programming and so forth. So I think AI is definitely having a profound impact. What I'm concerned with a little bit out here is that I feel there is AI washing is becoming like the greenwashing a little bit. So when we speak with a lot of startups and a lot of suppliers out here, I think the fancy term today is, we are using AI, And when you try to kind of peel out the things from the surface, you find, this is just a simple algorithm at the back end, which is probably being run, and there is no natural language processing or generative AI at the back end. So, I think we are in that phase that there is going to be a lot of bloodbath in the industry because we are moving so fast. But there is going to be this checkpoint where I think things are going to slow down a little bit, and I think the regulators are asking for that. But it definitely enhances and makes a life of a researcher much more productive so that we can focus on more creative things. But it does come with its own risks. And I think that would probably take us an hour of debate, just talking about the risks of AI. But yeah, I mean, it has profound impact, no doubt about that, as far as big data is concerned.
Right now, artificial intelligence or ChatGPT and stuff, it's basically a junior assistant It can help you to pull the data, it can help you to structure it, but you say you need the analyst, you need a person who understands the business, you need a person to create all the links between different departments, different business contexts, realities, the budgets, capabilities, capacities, and so forth, in order then to make business decisions or proposal for, okay, what are the business decisions, what are pros and cons, while basically then whatever AI, as you say, is a tool, it can provide okay, here's a whole list of the data and options, but then you need a human intelligence, as you say, rather than artificial intelligence to make it, a step further and actually make, the business relevant and correct decision.
As an example, I have a client where we are doing a lot of surveys for them, and if I would ask an AI to analyze it, it will come up with an answer. If I provide that answer to the client, they will hit me with a very big stick, because I need to understand the client. I need to understand what is possible within that organization, what is possible in relation to their strategic goals, their tactical goals, their operational goals, those that I work with, what mandate do they have within those fields that the AI is saying, you should do this. So you need the human touch, understanding the business. Otherwise, it's a tool.
Yeah.
Junior analyst.
But I think what's happening now is that most of these generative AI models are too generic to start with. But I think over time what's going to happen is that these models are going to be applied to specific sectors, and specific companies, and the reason for that is data privacy. So as a company like Ericsson, of course we are looking at generative AI and ChatGPT, but we're never going to expose our data to these generative AI models. So what this would mean is that we would probably license out technology from the likes of Microsoft, specifically tailored for Ericsson itself, so that the data sits within the company itself. And the more the AI learns our business processes, our data, and works with our data, suddenly it starts becoming much more of a subject matter expert, let's say in telecom. And that can happen in the field of medicine, pharmaceuticals, and so forth. And that's where I think we're not at that stage yet. But I think over the years, we would start seeing these models being applied to specific verticals and getting that sort of subject matter expertise. I think we are, to some extent, underestimating the power of what these models essentially could do. And I would take your data a little bit and say that you said 5%, or was it 8% of these poor respondents? I believe what you would see is that 80% would actually increase to 95% of good respondents. And that delta is going to be covered by AI bots, who are going to get extremely smart in answering these surveys at the back end. And I think we would need some very sophisticated AI detection and proofing mechanisms in order to catch these guys, because the smart cheaters are going to get extremely smart at the back end. So I feel that somehow we are still playing catch up in this industry, and the ones that would really hone the power of these models and work with it, I think would eventually see big gains coming their way.
We need to accept imperfections. I would suggest using different data sources to answer your questions, to validate them through using different data sources to get a better understanding that way. I think that is a good way. I come from background working with global health. I would never ever use a single data source there to understand one question, because it's too important. I wouldn't try to validate it through using triangulation.
Can you use... sorry, go.
Yeah. No, I just assume that this question is not new and not dependent on AI. That has always been the case, I guess, that you would talk to different people, you would get different answers, even if... Yeah, it might. My sort of vision for the future, when more data is more available, it's, again, not about the data, it's the way we use the data, it's the way we interpret it, and the way we transform it into possible actions that would actually help your brand, your company forward. And I would trust the one that you think that you could have a good collaboration with, because in the end, I think also we need to be more transparent with each other between us as researchers and the brand, the client, to get to the good things in the end. We all want the same thing, to sort of create a better world, interpret that as you wish, more candy. But to reach that, we need to have that transparency and trust, and then data quality, of course, as much as possible. If we talk about sustainability in research, we do a lot of research, and then we redo the research with almost the same questions 6 months later, a year later. If we could sort of collect them, and we could also build on that much better, but then it needs to. I don't know the technology, but what I like to see is to at least from have this fantastic tool then, who goes into the raw data and find new things, and with text analytics and everything, you can sort of get that first plate up with sort of ideas of how it could be connected, and then we could look at that better. I think actually now it pains me with all the things that we forgot that we knew 2 years ago that would have made the new analysis even better. So I'd like to see that come into place much better with a platform and with a tool.
Alexander, what do you think?
Here I think just to reflect that it's still the same question, right? Whatever business question is. So it doesn't matter which tools do you use, or which data sources, or which methodology, whether it is interview, focus group, online community, surveys, whatnot. Basically, you just need to find the most suitable, fastest, best quality, cheapest tool and methodology to get the answer. And AI obviously can help to maybe operate with different data sources and different methodologies to get it, but it's not that you need to use all the 10, 20, 50 different tools and methods and sources to get the answer. You want to find the best balance in terms of the cost and the benefit,
Good
and then
enough.
you go for it, right? Good enough, or whatever.
Yeah.
The data imperfection, but it's good enough to move on. And then AI again can help with the speed, with maybe operating with different data sources, but again, it's not that you need to use it everywhere. It's more again what is the most convenient way to get the answer as good as possible, as soon as possible, but again, never go for perfection because it's never going to be there.
I don't see the death of the online survey, but I see that the way we think about online surveys is definitely going to change, right? I mean, Stefan talked about, he raised a very important point about this rarity of finding respondents. I mean, if I have to interview a Gen Z today, let's imagine a 17-year-old, I'm not going to find him in a panel. I need to be on Roblox if I have to find that 17-year-old, because this guy is spending 4 hours a day on Roblox platform, right? So I think we will have to think about how are we going to engage these users on the platforms that they are today. And as Ericsson, we're trying to do that with different mechanisms and different platforms that we are trying to go in. And the way that survey is going to work in Roblox is going to be not the traditional surveys that you do. I mean, it will be probably an avatar of yourself engaging with users on the Roblox platform, and then engaging in a group discussion or some form of that part. So I think it's going to the medium is going to change, the format is going to change, but I think in essence, as we've been saying, I mean, you're still after that question. You want to get to know the consumers but much better. The format will just change going forward.
We work a lot with online reviews, conversations in social media, different kinds of forums, and we still use a lot of surveys. So it's not the death of it, because sometimes people don't talk about the things that you want them to talk about. You have to basically prompt them. You can get hundreds of conversations, thousands of conversations about after service when it comes to e-commerce, because everybody's so mad about the after service. But you won't find that many conversations about the new launch from Cloetta and how that feels on the tongue. Then you need another method.
You still need the consumer voice, right? And doesn't matter which tool or mobile or online server community, whatnot, you still want to speak with the consumer because it's basically, at least from my sense, right? I sell candy to consumer, and it is you as a consumer who's going to eat it. It's not going to be AI voice or AI doing the purchase or AI eating my chocolate. So hence, I need basically the end user, the end consumer, and I need to hear the voice so that I know what can I do better in order to satisfy the needs better, and hence, answer the business questions.
And also thinking that so far, we often also want to know that who said this and said that, because we want to make these connections and understand that, find the segments or understand how our different questions actually are connected to each other. And just going online and see how people talk, it doesn't help us because we don't know who said this. So so far at least, we want to add that and be able to twist and turn on.
But then again, going online to certain niche audiences for passion products, they are expensive to survey otherwise. But here you can find them talk hours and hours and hours on how to use that specific little brush on that thing. Or if you're going to survey them, you're not going to find them. But you can find them on certain niche audiences. It comes back to your question. What method can answer my question the cheapest way? That's the most important questions. And online surveys will have a role to play, I think. But so will online conversations, forum, reviews.